Sorry, Galileo. I shall be
That's
quiet.
okay. I'm starting the streams. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We're now streaming on multiple platforms at once, so we don't just have to say hi Twitch, we just have to say hello Internet. So that's a pretty good change. Um, let's do some team introductions real quick. Hi Internet. Yep, everybody's saying it. We've got a
Hello,
pretty small product meetup today. What's going on? Is there a cataclysm happening? That's probably not a safe gambit to make. Anyway, okay, Nix, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Nix. I'm a project manager working with some of the teams on Sansar, so mostly just trying to make sure that everyone knows what the schedule is and that we ship on time.
All right, I'm Galileo. I do all kinds of stuff, but you probably know me as a community manager. I play with you guys.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, calm down over there.
Whoa, who's that?
Sorry.
We have fun together. Is that more? All right. Go ahead, Kara. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, hey, I'm Kyra. I'm product manager for Avatars. I also work a lot with Jeremy on documentation, so if you have documentation questions, shoot them up my way. Yeah, that's it.
JRC. Stanley.
Hey, yeah, I work with Kara pretty closely on Sansar product.
Love your American shorts.
Thank you.
Harles Barkley, it's you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Harley. I'm the team lead for Sansar support. So if you find a bug, or you're having loading issues, or any sort of like minor or major IT issue, bring it to me and I'll either help you fix it or I'll take it to someone who can. Also do governance stuff. So yeah, the fun and the not fun.
Found a bug. Gonna eat it?
Oh, Dalabut has been found.
Hello?
Laceface, you're up.
Oh, hello. I'm Lacey. I hope y'all know me by now. I'm a marketing coordinator, and I do a variety of things, including, making content of Sansar, helping out with the community, helping out with events, and all sorts of things. I'm a Renaissance woman deer today, I guess. So yeah. And thank you. Apparently I'm good at rhymes, according to the chat. And thank you.
Lacey's got mad skills.
Aw, thank you.
The spits that never quits. All right. Zoe, if you want to talk, you can. You've got megaphone.
Sure, I might as well make use of my power here. I'm Zoe. I am an intern for the summer for the Sansar team. I've been working on a number of things, but primarily kind of UI flow and updating some of these panels you guys see all the time. So that is my exciting work right now, at least. And I like to hang out in here and chat with people, so you might see me around.
Zoe is also awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Just so everybody knows, she was the one who worked on getting you the able to change the avatar thumbnail after.
Woo, woo.
Woo! Thank you, Zoe.
Z is trying to hide behind a pole over here, and then there's Zorba is around. If you don't want to introduce yourself, that's cool. But if you want to, come on stage. And I believe Nibs is hanging out around here somewhere.
I think we missed GRC as your mic.
Oh, JRC. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
JRC, go for it.
So it looks like JRC needs to rejoin, but let me do a quick intro. JRC is going to be our new avatars tech lead. So if you have any questions about avatars, you can ask him questions. Of course, Z is also our lead artist in terms of Avatar 2.0. So any skeleton questions, we'll flag them as the meeting progresses.
Landon's also in here, and Signal's in here as well. Zorba's on the wall. We're everywhere. JRC, how are you feeling?
Can I talk now?
Yep,
Yes.
sure can.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, sorry. So I'm JRC, the new Avatar tech lead. So nice to meet you all. This is my first product meetup, so I'm excited.
Yay, welcome.
Welcome.
What does JRC stand for?
That's my initials.
Ah, I see.
Jonathan, Rolly, Kristen. So
We call you Junior C.
yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get this. Let's get this bad boy started here. First off, we've done the team introductions. Kara's got some small announcement about the latest update. Let's do it.
Yeah, hi everyone. I just want to make a reminder that we recently had an update with a couple of new features. One is on the store. You now have the ability to post hidden listings, meaning you can create listings that are not going to be visible on the store search or on the grid. But you can share those with anyone you like, your friends, or anybody you'd like to give free items to by sending them the link. Feel free to check out our documentation portal. We have some documentation there, how to do it. It's pretty straightforward. It's very similar to the way you list items currently. Other updates, we have a new visibility simple script in the script API folder in the Sansar install folder. Currently, it's not yet in the scene editor's inventory, but we are working to add that there the next release. We also did an overhaul of the quest log. So for those who love questing, please check it out. It's a lot more intuitive and easy to navigate. The last thing is quest creators can now address quest takers directly in their quest. So you can put something like, hey Solus, blah blah blah, whatever the quest is. So those are new updates.
But don't do my name.
No, just like a sample. So like whoever the user who opened the quest will eventually, will see their name there essentially. So that's it for our updates.
Excellent. All right. So, Kara, just when you thought you were done, we also have Skeleton and Creator Program Q&A. Do you want to lead those? You want to talk about the skeleton first?
Of course, yeah. So last week we released the Avatar Skeleton, I think shortly after the product meetup last week. So we definitely would like to get more feedback. We've been getting a lot of feedback on this Discord channel. Thank you everyone for your feedback. But we'd like to discuss that a little bit more, get your feedback, any issues you're coming across, and any questions that you may have in terms of the skeleton and how that would impact after 2.0 and 1.0 content as we release after 2.0. Yeah, with that, I open the floor for any questions.
It looks good. I'm impressed. I found some little issues with the rigging in Maya, and I have screenshots, and I'm in the process of putting examples together and stuff, thinking I should send them to you guys as well. Other than that, it's I'm excited.
Yeah, on that note, definitely I'd like to encourage everyone to try out the creator program. Feel free to submit your assets for testing. We've got a couple of submissions already and we've given them feedback. So if any of you would like to try that out as well, feel free to submit your assets. The submissions go to me, so I'm the one who is sharing the assets with the team. So if you also have questions, feel free to shoot it through that submission portal. I'll share the guidelines on submitting items in chat shortly.
So basically we have 50 minutes. So any question you have is fine. It doesn't have to be related to questing or the Avatar 2.0 or anything like that. Creator program. I mean, if you have questions because those are new things, that's great. But if you have other stuff that you want to talk about, let's do it.
Either everybody is really, really happy with everything, or everybody is comatose.
I hope it's the first one.
Are we going to be able to modify the body?
Not for V1, but that is the goal with this new change, which is the reason why we are changing. Why we changed the skeleton is so that we can pay forward to modifying the body. So for V1 of releasing after 2.0, it will be mostly the face. But in the course of the next few months, we are going to be working towards enabling body deformation for everyone.
All right, cool.
What sort of body mods are you thinking, Scorpio?
I was asking for somebody else. They were asking about modifying the glutes and breasts and stomach. And there was actually somebody who wanted to make a big stomach to represent them more in real life. And I told them that I had no idea if we were going to be able to do that. So
If that's the case, I'm gonna need a glute modification stat.
Well, considering how the rig is set up, I don't foresee, unless we can import our own blend shapes, I don't foresee any of our custom avatars working with the slider system, with the deformation system.
What makes you say that?
If I'm rigging a human avatar and a female with breasts, how will the breasts scale with your system? As far as I know, the only way to be able to do that is for us to be able to import our own deformers or blend shapes, and then we can deform.
I think the general idea for that stuff is, yeah, blend shapes, basically. To have slots of blend shapes that people would be able to eventually upload for their custom avatar stuff, so that they can deform using that type of setup rather than having to try to hook up to the bone deformation setup that exists for Avatar 2.0. Because you're right, man, dude. Like that type of stuff is like we don't know what would come in, so there's just no way for us to anticipate and figure out a system that works with any type of mesh that might come in. But blend shapes is something you can include in your upload that you've created for your mesh and will work for your mesh. So I think that was the general idea for that kind of stuff going forward.
Well, the only issue I have is that, yeah, for a custom avatar that's not a human, that's all fine, but for human avatars, we're going to basically end up having two different sets of avatars. The default, which can be morphed their way, or your way, and then custom human that will use our morphs. So like I would just rather it be all humans work on one system.
So I'm hearing down with custom avatars.
Right. Yeah. Is that what you mean? So, Matthew,
well, if we had rigged breasts, then breasts could scale. Right now, our current rig doesn't have breasts rigged to the breastbones. It doesn't have toes rigged to the toe bones. So I don't, to me, if you hook up all those things, then you could easily scale the breastbone or the toes or whatever.
All right, so the request is actually you want those areas of the body to be rigged to the skeleton.
Yes, yeah, especially the breasts.
Would we be ending up with kind of a situation like, I know not everybody was in something, but a situation like that where there's the base avenue and then something like Betraya, where it's different? Is that kind of what the situation would be right now?
It's not quite the same because we have MD clothing, which can fit anything.
Right.
And the real core issue with the Second Life avatar is that a custom avatar brought in will not morph exactly the same as the default, and that's really the issue. Whereas I'm kind of suggesting that we make it so that the custom avatars work the same way the default does.
So it is a greater challenge to be able to get bone deformation working on custom avatars for reasons other than just what bones are rigged to wear, especially if you're going to create something that is substantially different than our base avatar mesh. We don't know what's coming in, and to be able to have the mapping between what area of the body you're clicking on and what bone that means and what the limit should be on how far you should be able to deform it. That's a lot more complex than providing that information one time for our default avatars. So that is definitely a harder thing to do for custom avatars.
Okay, so we've got some questions coming in now. Kat asked, can you add some sort of standard mic volume mark in the testing or something? LOL. Everyone's mics are so wildly different in volume.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to be able to adjust individual levels without asking somebody, hey, can you turn your mic down? Can you turn your mic up?
Like when I'm just like when Lacey's talking a little bit too much, I can just turn her all the way down.
Don't.
Hey.
This is one of those times.
Oh yes, Lacey. So loud.
Ouch.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback. We'll write that down.
Okay, so sorry, I was.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, before we move on, so I had a follow-up question on talking about custom avatars with sliders. How does everybody feel about being able to use our base avatars and create your avatars using the Sansar system, make your own custom avatars, and then list that in the store. So instead of creating custom avatars outside of Sansar, you can create your own custom avatars using the bone deformation the bone deformation system, create your avatars in Sansar, create your face, create your body shapes using the system in place, being able to import that into your inventory, and then you can sell that. And then from there, I think that would address Matthew's concern about, having the same system across, the custom avatars as well as the base avatars.
And then rig clothing should fit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be awesome. I don't know if anybody else.
All right.
Okay, cool.
I think that'd be awesome.
We definitely need a good default.
Yeah, understood. All right, thank you. All right, sorry, Galia, go ahead.
I mean, okay, Majeka Monroe, the best rapper in the game.
Original MC.
The original MC, yeah. I would like a quest objective complete after an object collide action is implemented. Wait. I would like a quest objective complete after an object collide action implemented as a new quest feature. I am not doing this sentence any service here. Is that even going to be possible?
Wait, I didn't even understand.
Yeah, I am having trouble reading it in the right way.
I would think.
Yep, go ahead.
I think it's asking to be able to have an objective where someone just needs to run into a volume, and once they do that, then it completes an objective. And I think that should be possible under the current scripting system.
If that is the ask, then yes, that should be possible.
Yeah, but I have another question. When you throw an object against and collide, the trigger collides, then it should advance the objective in the quest system. Is that possible?
That should still be possible, right? Because
it's possible to code it yourself, but it's not going to be default behavior. Because what you need to know is like who held the object, and someone has to store that. Right now, that's not in the system, and I think it's like I'm adding simple scripts into the objects you're throwing, but I'm hoping that the lab is giving that to everyone, because you need to be able to ask an object, okay, who held you last?
That's exactly what I'm asking for, a new feature in the quest system.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like you'd like maybe an API to tell you who the last person to hold the rigid body is.
Yeah.
And then that could be used for that purpose.
It's just a few lines of code to implement it, so like, we should all have it. I can release a temporary solution for everyone, but I think it's a really good feature to integrate.
That's awesome feedback. We will make a note of it and see if we can get it to you guys.
Speaking
Okay.
of quests, is there a way we can toggle off the quest, reminder? Because it nags you every time you log in that you have to finish this.
Solus. What a can of worms you've opened.
I know, sorry, but really.
Too bad. Finish the quest,
No.
Again, Depo asked you to ask that question.
No,
Yeah, is this good?
He's probably doing this right now in the office, But no, it just would be helpful. I don't know. It's just a pet peeve. Sorry.
It's on our radar. If it helps, it's on our list, but we have a long list of things. So it's definitely on our list.
But low on the list.
Okay.
Somebody started talking?
Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be ever the ability to use the F4 camera controls in our dressing room. I find it rather jarring every time I want to check or getting close to like boots or something like that when I make them to have to go to an experience. It's not a very smooth ride.
Don't have plans, but that's really good feedback. Definitely it's something we've talked about before. Is like having better camera controls in the editor. It's yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
Even if we just had the F4.
Oh, what's that?
Even if we just had the F4 abilities, they don't have to be anything different than is already existing in an experience. That would be enough for us to at least zoom in on certain areas of our avatar when we're checking things and not have to leave the room and go into an experience and go back into the room. It's just not, it's not smooth. And yeah, better lights would be good too. Agreed.
Yeah, under lighting, definitely we're working on that. So one thing that we are working on, the JRC is actually working on, is changing the background also of the character editor. I know it's a little bit dark right now, so we're changing the lighting as well as the background, so it's a little bit more to highlight the avatar a little bit more, make sure the focus is there, and that it's not that dark background. I know a lot of you also take screenshots in the character editor when you make store listings, so you know that could improve that as well.
What if there was like a light 1, 2, and 3 option for different spotlights and maybe different backdrops?
Yeah,
That
or
would
even an
be
area.
that would be really cool.
Photo studio. Well, it could be the photo studio, right? That wouldn't be
Or
bad.
even just a little area that has like different lighting set up on a white background. Just something that would be good for product shots or whatever. That's kind of like there in the dressing room, so we don't have to leave.
Yeah, there are 3 distinct areas in the room too, so you could have 3 lighting setups.
Yeah, or they could make a different room.
A little studio room. I mean, but I
Yeah.
mean, we can also provide something like that.
Personally, I think the room is very cluttered.
Yeah, it's a lot of, I need more room to walk and catwalk and do my struts and stuff like
Good
that.
idea
check
for an
things out.
experience, guys.
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, we can do an experience. We just don't want to have to.
We
log
don't
in
want to
and
have
then
to
go
leave.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That whole transition is very jarring, and it just takes you out of your, like, when you're doing your avatar, you want to be able to see what you're doing. You don't want to have to like go to an experience to see like how the shoes look or if there's things poking through. That's just not good.
One core difference is also that you are being left alone, right? And almost in the experience, you're not by yourself. So in that case, it's actually beneficial to be by yourself.
Yeah, especially as creators and stuff, you want to just be in your own space and left alone and have it smooth. That's one of the only things that I can think of right now that's really kind of throwing me off when I'm doing stuff.
That's one thing I hate about taking images for the store is I hate that I have to go to an experience that I have set up just for photos, and then if something's not right, go back into lookbook, go back to the experience. Anyways, like you said.
In our home, we should be able to maybe drop some props and stuff too if we wanted to do our photo shoots in there. Some way to do that kind of stuff would be useful. So.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you for the feedback. We'll certainly think about it. Yeah, at least the first step is we're changing the background and a little bit of the lighting. We may not have the 3-layer lighting controls, but it's something definitely we'll consider as a future iteration.
Okay, great. Jamal has some great stuff coming in here. Jamal, just wanted to comment on the new designs there. Matt, I asked if a quest owner removes objectives from a quest, it's possible for questers, who have already started the quest to end up in a state where they have completed all the objectives but have no way to finish the quest.
As an example, Beverly removed all of the other experiences from her mysterious quest before I had done those parts. So now I have all the objectives complete, but I can't end the quest, either to abort, reset, or complete.
Mm-hmm. The experience provider could give you a reset.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Can need to think more about this.
You know, another thing related to this is we can reset the quest, but we can't reset just an objective. So I might have gone through just, well, yeah, with a button. I'm talking about on the panel. I want a button on the panel where I can click it and eliminate the objective so I can test it again.
I think you can.
Instead of having to, there's no button there. Okay.
So for a creator, that you should have a button to reset your quest.
Yeah.
Reset the quest. I'm talking about resetting the objective.
It should reset everything inclusive.
Yes, but I don't want to lose all the objectives I just did. Because when you make a quest, yes, if I reset it, then I gotta unlock the door, then I gotta go do the other thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep, that came up in a discussion yesterday where you're wanting to debug and test your quest better, where you have, let's say, 15 objectives. You don't need to go through 10. You just need to insert yourself at that 10th objective and continue debugging from there. Noted. It is, yes. It's good to hear that you are running into the same things as we are running into, and this is on our roadmap to do.
Okay, great. $50 from Twitch asks, can we get an ETA on an aesthetically pleasing blender bones for men and women?
Yes. So, yeah, I want to talk about that. So the skeletons that we released last week are the first versions of the Avatar 2.0 skeleton. Definitely, they're still a work in progress. So we are working towards giving you better blender assets, and in the future also adding, textures on some of these skeletons. That will come a little bit much later. Actually not that too far off. Once we release Avatar 2.0, we're also going to release those files essentially. So yeah, so we're aware that the Blender files really, when we release them, we were aware that they do not look great, but they should still be workable. It should not hinder you from creating any avatars or any clothing against it currently.
I just want to speak to that a little bit. I mean, I actually want to give props to Meadow. He did a good job on setting up the visual bones that he did on his files. That's basically all it is visuals, right? So it's not functionality. It doesn't prevent you from rigging. But yeah, the visual could be drawing and stuff like that. We just haven't been able to get that done in time for this initial release, and we'll be doing something similar to what Meadow is doing. His will probably still be looking better.
Well, I just want to say to everyone, too, it's not my experience that companies will make you a custom blend file. Technically, all you need is that FBX, and that's it. And that's all I expect from the lab, really. Anything more would just be them doing work that they could have spent doing something else. So that's all I want to say about it.
And it's the same for Maya. When I bring in some of the kits, the bones are all different because every user uses different preferences, and that's all that's happening. You just have to know your program and set your preferences up to be how you like it. And I'm sure Blender's the same as Maya.
And so is on that note, I know there are a couple of users who also have asked for different versions of the Blender files. I know there's been a preference between, I think, Blender 2.8 and the earlier versions. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think right now our Blender files are more compatible with 2.8. So I think right now the plan is to continue iterating on the 2.8 version. We have no plans currently to create a 2.79 or 7.8 version of the Blender file.
Our version of the Blender files is the 2.8 compatible only.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyways.
Cool. And on that note, we recently updated our Blender import settings, instructions on the knowledge base yesterday to kind of help with the issues with importing into 2.8. I think a user mentioned that they were unable to upload the materials, so the instructions to do so should be on the knowledge base now.
Okay, cool. let's go ahead and move on then. Disney asks, is the new Avi going to have changeable items like skins and eyes so that we could buy them on the market or import them and have them work on our Avis? Assuming human Avi here.
Yay, Disney.
Not for the initial release, but that is the kind of thing that we absolutely want to enable soon afterwards. That's going to be a super high priority for us to have sellable skins, eyes, that kind of thing.
Yay! Something I want that's high priority. I love it. Awesome. Thank you.
Agreed.
Okay, Zod asks, in build mode, when we close the layer eye of a point light / spotlight, only the mesh is hiding. I want the effect of the light to turn off as well while I'm making edits in build mode. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's good feedback. That's a good idea. I think the challenge there being you still want to see what's going on in the world when that happens, so you might want to hide specific lights. But yeah, I'll take that back to the team that works on the editor and gives them that feedback.
Yeah, in general, like you only really have the hide flag that is like bound to individual users. So, and I mean, we understand that it's not that easy to implement, but you do have to jump through a lot of hoops to display different states, and you really cannot. The more you move to the client control, the better it will be for the Quest system for sure.
Okay, great. Zod's second question. Can we get the alpha mask for all materials? And instead to be in the title of the material, like plus alpha mask, to be a checkbox. Use alpha box, yes or no, so we can have this for all materials, please?
No, unfortunately. They are actually using different shaders when you're selecting the different materials, and the one that doesn't have to worry about computing alpha is substantially faster than the one with alpha, so we do want to keep those separate.
Okay.
And technically, the user has that control by making it alpha or not. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Good call out, Matthew. All right. Granddad got mojo. Is it possible for two people to hold an object at the same time?
No.
Maybe the follow-up would be, is it going to be possible?
It's not currently possible, and but you can steal objects. So if somebody's holding an object and somebody else clicks on it, it'll steal to the second person. I don't think we have plans to change that, though.
We kind of do need that change, though, because we tested out our zombie game, so we're all running around with weapons. But if one or two people decide they don't want to play the game and they just want to steal everyone's weapons, then there's no point in the game.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if there's a use case for not stealing versus stealing, then yeah, it's good. We got to consider changing it.
I mean, I love it as a gameplay item, so I would love to be able to have a toggle. I can turn it on and off, but just allowing people to steal makes a shooter game impossible.
You can set objects to...
When you want to just pick something up and they carry it along and someone must be so long and grabs it from you.
You can set objects to not be grabbable from scripts, so that should allow you to write a script where you can, when someone grabs an object, it's set to non-grabbable.
Or at least give an option to the game owner that just he can block it or something.
Yeah, I think
everybody that makes a game will have a way to block it just on his game or something like that.
Yeah, we initially put in the stealing because it was very difficult to share an object, to hand it over to somebody. You had to drop it, and then they had to catch it, and it was a little difficult. But we've made changes in that area, so it's definitely something we should reconsider putting in.
Okay. Love asks, any development on making a friends list that can that can buy. I don't know what this says. That could, oh, I see. Is there any development on having a friends list that can, by option, be more focused on friends?
Can you clarify the question?
Lu-
Because the friends list is a list of your friends.
Luv, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just following up on what we discussed last week. Matthew mentioned that he would like the friends list to remain as it is. I really want the friends list to be switched around so that my friends are at the top of the list. I don't have to scroll through them. So the best solution would be to have an option to toggle how you prefer your friends list to be, or even to separate the friends list from everything else, your friends.
Oh, from the friend requests.
Yeah, friend requests and anything else that's in that list.
Right now, it's just the list of friends and the people who have requested friendship. So, okay.
But you really want to get to the people who are online first of all in your list, being the friends that you have. Does that make sense? For me, I want to.
Do you mean like versus acquaintances?
No, I mean, you basically what I have right now is friends pending, and I've got like 71 of them. And then I have my friends who are online, and then I have friends who are not online. So I want to see friends who are online at the top of the list, then friends who are not online, and then everybody else.
Make a separate tab for friend requests.
Is there some way we can just order it ourselves? You can make it so we can personally order it ourselves how we want it.
That's what I'm asking just
That'd
now.
be good too, like by name or by whatever.
Separate it, order it, whatever, but I just want them in the top of my priorities.
Nick, do you wanna see that one?
I mean, this topic has definitely come up before, and it's good feedback to know the different use cases that people have for friends lists. Definitely, when we created it, we weren't originally anticipating that people would have dozens and dozens of unresponded to friend requests. I don't think working on that has been a high priority for us in the near term, but we're definitely going to take that feedback into account the next time that we get some resources to look into that area.
Thank you.
Now, what about controlling what friends can TP to you?
Yup. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Once again, we need a stealth button.
Okay, is anybody going to answer that, or should we just...
Just some kind of checkbox for mapping, like for stalker, but something.
Something, yeah, so we can control it.
Yeah, definitely hear you. I'll make sure that the relevant product people hear the requests. Again, the social and friending aspects haven't been higher on our priority list lately, so I don't know what timeframes would be, but we'll definitely make sure to pass the request along.
Because I know a few of us have had the issue with people who, if you take them off your friends list, and they stalk you through Discord or whatever else they can, and so it's almost safer to just leave everything as it is, but then wherever you wind up in Sansar, they follow. And if you block them, then they stalk you through Discord and ask you 1,000 questions of why you blocked them in Sansar.
Although
So
if we block them from
it's-
teleporting, they're going to complain about that too. It's going to be.
It's just like a
I'd rather deal with that.
Or they could just show you as offline if you block them. Like show as offline.
Yeah, but then they get you in Discord, or or if they follow you. Yeah.
I will also say if you have people who are stalking you and harassing you, definitely let our support team know.
Yeah.
Just make sure to get as much documentation as you can. It's one thing to hear it.
God, I really hate to report Epic. No, that was a
Oh, all right, Harley.
I do have a suggestion for this, is to have it default turned off and let us like check box or something, or turn on a slider and let individual people that we choose to be able to follow us.
Than a button.
Well, and I mean, they're not a problem necessarily.
Right,
It's
but
not like it's a...
the thing is that it would be nice to know if, for example, someone is a
chronic harasser, for lack of a better term at the moment. Sorry, my brain's kind of dead. And to be honest, I've seen that happen where, like, it turns out that someone is becoming a huge problem, but I'm the last to know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. If
that's
they're
really hard
doing
for
it
us.
to you, they might be doing it to someone else, and I rather protect the community and the platform, you know. I definitely don't want to, like, point a hard at anyone, but at least mentioning it and providing as much, like, detail as you can helps me figure out when someone's being a real, like, chronic problem.
How do you deal with their ults? Because you get rid of them and they'll come back as lots of different ults.
Yeah, then it just turns into another whole thing.
Well, my suggestion would be it's definitely going to be a lot easier to implement if you just have one flag where you say, okay, I don't want to be teleported to right now because I'm doing something where I don't want to be disturbed. So like having a do not disturb, like then you don't have to implement it so it's per person.
Yeah, even that would.
Well, at least that, yeah. But I mean,
there needs to be some privacy.
Yeah,
even like in Second Life, there's a do not disturb option.
Pretty much everyone calls that the friends button TP2 a stalker tool. I mean, you guys created a stalker tool.
Literally.
So it's like, even if people aren't really stalkers, the ability to just teleport to somebody is so easy that they become stalkers.
Yep.
Okay?
Exactly.
So that needs to be adjusted, if you ask me. And Second Life does it very well. Second Life does it very well.
Yeah, so-and-so wants to teleport to you. Do you accept or not? You know?
It's made worse here, too, by the fact that the system gets confused, thinks that somebody's standing in the social hub when they're in an unlisted experience, and then happily teleports a user to their test platform, where they didn't expect to be disturbed.
If that happens, that is definitely a bug, and definitely let
It's
us
a frequent
know.
bug.
It's definitely happening. Yeah.
Agreed, but let us know exactly what time, what account you're on, what experience, so that we can look up the logs, and that'll help us get a repro so that we can fix the bug.
Do people get spammed in Second Life for teleport requests?
I never do.
Only when I was in Gorn there were raids. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of good feedback for the social buttons. I assume that we'll bring that back to the right teams here. Kara, is your mic working yet? If the answer is yes, say yes, and if the answer is no, keep being silent. Okay.
Sounds like the answer's no.
You sound like you're coming in through somebody else's mic.
Yeah.
I see you struggling over there. Is it weird that I can see you across the room? I just waved. Okay. Kara, wait, go ahead and get that fixed. Silas asked, oh, God, Silas? Okay. Do we get high heels?
Not yet.
Does Gind get persistence?
Not yet, but we're working on it. We're designing it right now. So if you have specific use cases, again, please send those use cases in to us so that we can design something that works for real-world use cases.
Gind does have persistence, he just doesn't want to use it.
Well, it's external, right? Like, don't we have to get a website and pay for it or something?
The Quest system has persistence too.
Does it? Oh, okay.
All right, is my mic working now?
There we go.
Welcome back. All right. Yeah, foiled by the Oculus.
Just because a marketing campaign you can have with heels, you know? Sansar now has heels. It's huge. You'll have so much attention.
Right. Yeah. We definitely want to. Yeah. We are looking into heels, but probably a little bit more in the future, because it does require a lot of tech that we need that we don't currently have in place. For the meantime, we are focusing on after 2.0, giving you body deformation. And once that's over, we'll definitely look into where heels comes into play. I know it's a frequently asked question.
We got to get Avatar 2.0 working first.
Right, yeah.
You can do it.
Okay. And I believe Ice Cream asked, unless Ice Cream this was about the heels and you were making a joke, but I did want to make sure that, yes, we have heard all of the social feedback you've gotten regarding teleporting and the stalking tool, which we're not going to call that internally, by the way, but it's good to know that you're calling it that. Yes, we've heard you. Okay, Silas. Oh, yeah, okay. Have you changed your mind about the Space Navigator, please?
Nope.
Nope, thanks. Okay. Silas has the next question as well. Are there plans for a raid to try and reacquire old Vamp?
That's not going to be up to us.
Yeah. Well, why did old Vamp leave?
Community.
Yeah.
Does anybody know why old Vamp left?
What was the reason why he left? All right, I'll follow up.
Okay, all right. He left because no heals? All right.
All right.
Ice Cream's got jokes here. Ice Cream's got jokes. Okay. Evo have asked, let me make sure I read this right before I start going into it. What kind of script persistence solutions are the team considering implementing? And if this is too technical for this meeting, can we have some kind of office hours session to discuss these options and their limitations with some of the scripters in Sansar? I have some ideas I would like to pitch in.
Please tell us what your use cases are. Feel free to send me a PM on Discord or put that feedback in the scripting channel on Discord. We absolutely want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, and we have the scripting office hours, and so if you pass that stuff to Bina as well, Bina can bring the right folks into the scripting office hours. I believe that happens every Friday, so we can probably get that in tomorrow if you reach out to Bina on Discord. That's BINAH. Okay. Zod, can we get bigger range for point lights in build mode? At the moment, the range is 500. Could you guys increase that to 1,000 or something like that? For big buildings with huge walls, to add them a light mood with a point light is not working well with the current light range. Adding multiple lights to cover a big wall is not working well because each light is stronger, and that creates shades on the wall.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for the feedback there. We can definitely look into that.
Okay.
Isn't there a way to make a light using an emissive panel? So you could make this big, huge panel, make it emissive, and have it cast on it.
Yes, but you need to build global illumination. Lots of people don't seem to like doing that.
And that affects your global illumination count, or the amount of volume that's covered.
And only people in high quality settings will see it.
Yeah, there's definitely challenges with making huge lights that cover a huge area as well, especially if they end up overlapping. But we'll definitely talk with the render team and see what's possible and what they would suggest to do in that case.
Well, it might be nice. I know in Blender, a lot of people don't use the traditional lights, and they just make their own, panel or whatever, and cast light from that. That might be a good solution.
If you have a gigantic wall that is a light caster or a shadow caster, that's going to be a huge performance cost, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's what they want. I mean, so they can adjust their build to it, I guess.
Okay. Also, if anybody wants to start being a shadow caster, that's such a cool word. So we can start role-playing as that. What else do we have here? General Zod. Currently there is no shader that allows alpha plus double-sided plus UV animation. Can we have something like this in the future?
I can ask the render team. That sounds like a fairly expensive shader, but I will definitely ask them.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Zod. Granddad got Mojo. Is there any consideration for a way to have two people's animations sync for like fighting or couple dancing animations?
Currently, no, but that's something that's been talked about internally. So in the future, yes, there's possibly a potential for that. Like, for example, like hugging each other or even like shaking hands. Yeah.
Okay, T-Cake asks, another question, is there a way to PM someone that is not on your friends list?
So currently, you can't PM somebody who isn't your friend. We can certainly look into that. Can you tell us a little bit more, like what are the use cases why you'd like to PM someone who's not your friend? Because we were just talking about stalkers or stalking somebody. So one of the reasons why we blocked that was so that any user won't be getting spam from people they don't want to get PMs from.
Well, you could just want to be helpful, like something, I don't know, you can say something to somebody that they didn't know of, where you don't want to tell everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, got it.
I personally think like
to update a product.
Like if you have a question on somebody's product, for instance, they have listed in the store, but you're not friends with them. But
I
you still
personally
have a
think this
question.
could be a good toggleable option myself, where you can allow or disallow private messages from non-friends. But since I'm not since I'm not involved on that side of things, this is just purely conjecture on my part.
Yeah,
to block them or
Just a good.
something if you don't want them.
Yeah. I remember back in like a couple months back, I think there was a discussion about being able to toggle that, but it just wasn't at the top of the priority list. But you can certainly consider that for future iterations. Yeah, thank you for the feedback.
Okay, Majeka, can we have the LOL phrase in chat tied to the LOL emote? So when you write LOL, your avatar will laugh. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. We'll certainly take that back to the team, see if it's possible.
And if you set another thing to work off of the LOL, then I'll be hugging everybody nonstop.
You just have to hang out with unfunny people.
I know, apparently, or never type LOL.
It would be a nice system.
Advocate your friendliness to newbies also.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Actually,
it would be nice to have a system where you put in your emote and you put in a trigger word, and whenever you type that in chat, it plays.
Yeah. Will we have that in actually more slots too, so that we're not limited to what are we limited now? 6 instances.
Yeah. So on slots, so I believe we are looking into changing how the emote system works a little bit. There, in the future, maybe there might not even be slots, and you can just access all of your emotes. So we're still working out the how that works in the future, but we're definitely kind of opening that up so you have more emotes, access to emotes, more emotes, and you can change it a little bit more easier without having to leave, let's say, the experience. So we're definitely improving in that, going to be improving in that.
Well, we have standing animations so that we can move around more naturally as a standing position.
Or walking.
You mean, overriding the animation? Is that what you mean? Overriding.
As I'm standing now, the natural thing is to sort of pace around a little bit. The kind of thing that happens in Second Life, I'm thinking of. You have an emote for yourself.
Animation override.
Like in Second Life, there's like a lot of like idle animations that people will play. Have like the character like kind of animated, standing around and do a little bit of moving, maybe kicking their heels or feet, or kind of like every so often like spin around. Just do some random stuff. It makes it look more alive.
Right, yeah, possibly in the future. I think we've been referring to that as animation override. So you can override the idle animation we have currently, add in more, the animation that you want to put in it, whether it's, the way you run, the way you stand. I believe that's also what we need in order to push forward for high heels, so that we can change the way the user walks or runs if they have high heels on the avatar.
Another use case, like currently, if we're making a game, so there are things that we would love for the avatar to do, and we do have emotes. So I could make an animation of the player swinging a bat, but I have no way to apply it, even though we have an emote system. So if I just had a way to call that animation, just like the player calls it himself in chat, then I could have the player swing a bat in the game.
Yeah, so that's another thing the team is looking into. I believe so that is what Stretch will be, I think, focusing on with Zeus, Alex. So they're looking into the ways to improve emotes. They're also looking into scene. I think we call that scene-based animation, so that if a user interacts with an object in world, and they can it will play an animation on the avatar, essentially, kind of like the bat example that you just mentioned. Yes, and then swing the bat. Yeah.
Well, and you did a fabulous job with the throwing, right? Because throwing is now fun in desktop when it was really almost impossible before. So it could go along those lines. You really need to be able to handle an object in a fashion that's not frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of benefit for the desktop users, because right now, if you hold an object, it's just floating in space. So once we have that, desktop users will be a lot more animated, because the object in world would dictate a little bit the animations when they pick up an object. Yeah.
Well, that's like one thing I kind of like about Second Life, because you can actually trigger off an attachment or when an object's res for somebody to have it become an attachment, like whether it's a drink in your hand or a weapon or something like that. So it becomes an attachment. It's not like something that can be easily taken away or knocked out or anything.
Okay, next question is from Al Yahadi. Is there any way we can change nicknames? So I assume that you mean your own nickname, but what about other people's nicknames as well? Let's see if we can answer both.
So if you mean by nicknames, the name that you have in your avatar, we call that avatar name or an ID. So currently you can't change that. As for other people, we currently don't have that functionality as well, and I don't think they are currently on our priority list, but we definitely will take that feedback back to the team, talk about it.
Okay, Chris Spade. Any updates on a push-to-talk button? As we all know, the words mute your mic happen very frequently during large events.
I don't know what the status of that is, but I can follow up with the team.
You can turn your mic on and off by pressing M.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even know that. I don't know when we release that, but that's great.
I also did not know that.
Wait, who said that? Yeah, who said that?
Disney, the expert.
Lifesaver.
How do you know that? That's magic.
There's a push to talk button.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It's not exactly push to talk. Yeah.
It needs to toggle.
That's alright. It's on.
But it's really close.
It's super close, but I'm surprised that like most of us didn't know.
I had no idea. It's much easier.
Can I ask a question? Can we add that with the M shortcut in the description and the help desktop controls? It's missing there.
Yeah, we should add that shortcut there.
That makes sense, yeah. That's why I didn't see it.
Oh, Ice Cream says it's in a tutorial.
Right, yeah. I mean, if I don't know about it, then it won't be in the documentation.
Okay, Ice Cream's a nerd who remembers every part of the tutorial.
Nerdy ice.
Okay, so we're done. We're done. We've got a couple more questions that are left here. I'm going to go ahead and say them, but technically we're done. Maybe we can do one more.
Go on, say mine. Mine's really cool.
Well, since you begged for it, I guess I have to say it. No, I'm kidding. Is there a way to have forced cloth deform to make sitting poses more modest and natural with skirts and dresses? Yeah, I get it. Okay. I wear a toga. I feel it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unfortunately, doing cloth simulation during runtime is going to be a little bit too expensive.
I'm not asking for a cloth simulation as such, but that when you sit down, your clothes will be forced to form a different shape, so that actually creates a modest. It just has a more natural bend on it.
Right, that's a form of cloth deformation at runtime.
Yeah.
Twice as much work.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the clothes will just be like it will conform to the body as you left the character editor, and then any emotes or any action would deform that based on how the body moves. Like if you do sit down, it does change that a little bit. Like you'll hear at GRCs.
Could you not tackle it in a way as two states of being? So if you sit, it just switches out the baked clothes for the sat down position instead of being the moving around kind of.
It's all rigged to bones. It's going to follow the bones. You have to have another set of bones to do something to it.
We would essentially have to bake the avatar twice after simulating in two different positions, and then save both of those avatars and have people load both forms of your avatar.
Oh gosh, I'd love to sit cross-legged, but it's so rude.
Have you guys thought about flow bones like they had in Hi-Fi? If we had a limited count, you could control it a little.
Yeah, we've definitely thought about it. It's just something that is not. That's something that will have to come later. We're still working on the basics of Avatar 2.0, and that's something that's definitely nice to have somewhere down the line, but it isn't something that we're going to get to anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you have considered it so that the architecture is right for it, because that's all that really matters in the end, right?
Okay.
You could also just make boy shorts for under your skirt.
Yeah, exactly. Wear
Borts.
What's happening with the clipping though?
All right, there's a lot of questions here. We got one Silas had asked a while ago, so I don't want to skip him. Silas, would it be possible to have a 3-layer shader with one global normal map instead of individual norm maps for each layer, except for the detail maps, that is?
Sorry, what was the question?
Would it be possible? Can you close your mic, Kara? Would it be possible to have a 3-layer shader with one global normal map instead of individual normal maps for each layer, except for the detail maps, that is?
Nix, what do you think about that question?
Not sure I'm parsing it entirely, but if you send it to me on Discord, I'll make sure that the render team looks at it.
All right, Silas, why don't you shoot that over to Nix on Discord? Everybody, I mean, I think we're done by 5 minutes now, so if you need to go ahead and ask the rest of those questions on Discord. I don't want to keep everybody. Is anybody willing to stay? Nix, are you, I mean, the folks up here who have the technical prowess?
Yeah, I'll stick around, but we do have another meeting coming up in another 10 minutes that I'll have to run too.
Yeah. All right, thanks everyone. See you around.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So next about the clipping, Sean had said there was a bug that would show some clipping with the auto rig and stuff.
Sorry. Can you give me a little more context? What's clipping under what circumstances?
The clothing on the avatar in certain places is clipping when the avatar moves. It's usually around the thighs and the different places depending. Shoulders, yeah. It just shows body parts.
Crazy.
Yeah, a
around
lot.
the neck right now.
Yeah, and some of it has to do with the way the item's
It's difficult
made.
to address that stuff now before Avatar 2.0.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
But they had said
it's
it
where it's made.
So basically it looks fine when your avatar is staying still, but then when you start moving, then you see the underlying body clip through the clothes.
Just through bits and pieces, yeah.
Yeah, anything in that regard is going to require updates to our hidden surface removal tech, and we've definitely done a number of iterations on that to make it better. I don't know that we're ever going to get to a point where it's going to handle every single situation perfectly, but if you have specific examples of clothing that reproduces that, then that can help us have some internal test cases that we can use when we're tweaking that algorithm.
Is it still true that if you're using an alpha, let's say a Marvelous Designer item that only has one face, if you're using an alpha in the texture, you're not going to have the where the body doesn't disappear underneath still? Or,
Yeah, I believe that's still accurate. So yeah, if it has alpha, then it's not going to remove the body underneath it, and then you'll see that kind of thing. Because we don't know what parts are safe to remove and what aren't, because we'd have to analyze the texture, not just the geometry, in hidden surface removal.
I know we've talked to
You know,
MD before
well, I just
about
want to
getting
mention,
more than one face.
well, about the rigging, the auto rigging. What if there was, or at least the hidden surface removal, what if you gave the user the ability to slightly turn it up? Slightly turn it up or turn it down for that use case where there might be one little island that didn't get removed for whatever reason, but if you just turn it up slightly, it'll take care of all those little islands.
So in a sense, it would like call the things that are rigged the heaviest, then it would call that under those areas? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would think that any system could recognize that here's this island in the middle of nowhere, and if you could turn up the influence of the system or whatever, it could get rid of that little island. Because it seems like that's what's happening with this hidden surface removal. One little point is poking through enough to not have it be removed. So if you could just have a dial and just turn it up slightly and get rid of all those little extras, that might be a solution.
Yeah, we're always gonna try and tweak the algorithm. The reason why we're probably not going to do that specifically is we're trying to keep the interface for the consumer as simple as humanly possible. But if there are ways that we can come up with to allow the creators of the individual clothing items to give hints to our algorithms of, hey, this is pretty tight against the skin, then that might be more of an option, but I'm not sure exactly what that would look like. But yeah, if you have specific garments that reproduce this problem, definitely let us know so that we have some better test cases.
So on the Marvelous Designer, I know that the actual Marvelous Designer company isn't going to address or won't. In Marvelous Designer, you have to buy Clothes 3D if you want to have separate faces per fabric. Is there any way on Sansar's end of it, on it, for a shader or something, that when people bring in an SAMD, that it actually separates out the fabrics as faces?
Not that I can think of, because we're basically just taking whatever they give us and we have to leave it in their format to do the simulation. The one thing we can do generally is to be able to replace the materials.
Okay, yeah, that's what I do, but still with MD, you're dealing with one UV, one face. So if you're doing alphas, you can't separate out the alphas from the rest of the outfit so that you can have correct color.
The one thing you can try is once you get something settled in MD, you could potentially export it to a 3D mesh format, and then pull it in as an FBX into MD and have it simulate after that. You're not going to get as good a quality of simulation at that point.
Serious? Oh, I didn't know that. So if we pull in an FBX into MD, and then it will still simulate?
It's not going to have as much information about like what cloth panels were stitched to what cloth panels, so it's not going to be as good of a simulation, but there is a feature in MD where you can import a 3D mesh file, I believe. Double check me on this. But where you can have it try and figure out how to simulate something that is mesh-based instead of cloth-based. It's not going to be as good. I'm just warning you right now, but.
So basically then the workflow would be created in MD, exported to Maya, and then re-import it to MD and start from scratch again to try to simulate from the different pattern pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I might play with that, but okay.
Give it a shot. If it works out, definitely let folks know what worked for you and what didn't. And if it doesn't work out, let folks know so that they know.
Don't bother, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if you couldn't, if you had an outfit that was alpha, but you wanted it to remove certain areas because those areas poke through or whatever, that you couldn't make two different outfits, in a way.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
you
could. I'm just saying, and then wear it in Sansar, in the lookbook, and then simulate it, and then bake it. But then you couldn't remove. I'm just thinking out loud. Sorry.
I mean, you could have it as separate outfits, but then like a lace at the bottom of the skirt that's alpha will just fall to the ground. Yeah.
We all have a meeting to get to in 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and just give this a cut right now. And I'm sorry I cut somebody off, but we all have to go. So thanks, everybody. Just making sure that I can be the bad guy instead of Nix.
Thanks for staying later, Nix.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everybody who did. And Galileo, you too.
I just like listening to you guys talk, you know.
Yeah, we know. But you get to go have lunch or something.
I am hungry, that's true. Okay. Bye, folks.
Yeah.